Good morning. My name is Ross Wendon from PrecisionPoint Software. Welcome to today's webinar, where we will be presenting our partner eKnowtion's product, Business Central Insights, a powerful reporting tool to fast track your reporting across your Dynamics Business Central platform. Today will be a bit of a whistle-stop tour of what is a very in-depth product, but hopefully it will give you a little bit of a view of the sort of power you can get out of the tool, the speed of implementation, and help you understand the benefits of what you will get if you move forward with the product. Okay, so I'll run through some slides. There'll be a quick demo of the eKnowtion product on the screen, and this recording will be saved for anyone to pull down and have a look through at a later time if they feel so to do so. Any questions can be caught up with after the webinar, or ping anything across to me on email, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, a little bit about the Business Central Insights platform from eKnowtion. Okay, so the whole crux of the product is to simplify your Dynamics data landscape. As you'll hopefully be aware as Business Central users, the breadth and depth of reporting that you have within the product is not fantastic. It's not easy to get data out of Business Central, if at all, and you are very much restricted to quite simple reporting built into Business Central itself. So what eKnowtion has done is build a connector that allows you to get the data. They've structured the data that comes through that connector from Business Central, and they've built dedicated Power BI apps that sit atop that data. Now, there are 11 apps. Each of those apps features a functional area of the Business Central data. So accounts, for example, will be split into accounts payable, receivable, finance, and so on. You've got sales and purchase and CRM and everything else you could really want, which we'll touch on in a minute. Each of those apps has a whole host of dashboards that sit within them. Last count is 200 plus pre-built dashboards. And in those dashboards, there are multiple report panels. So you're talking many hundreds of report elements that you can work through, which you'll see as we go through. So there is a huge amount of information that's available out of the box. The good thing is this is all, as I say, designed to fast track your experience. So everything is downloadable from within Business Central or the App Store. Complete deployment effectively can be done within minutes. You can download and configure the connector within minutes. You can download and configure each of the apps pretty much straight away. There's a smaller wait for the refresh of the data to come through, and you can refresh your data on schedule 8 times a day using Power BI Pro, which is a prerequisite for this system, or you can do an ad hoc refresh as and when required if you need the data on a more frequent basis. Obviously, the data volume will determine the refresh time, but it's generally pretty fast, a couple of minutes to pull things through, and you're off and running. So, from deciding you want to go with this, you can click on the screen on the App Store or through Business Central or through Power BI, download the required components and have everything up and running in a very short space of time. The reality being that if you were to even contemplate building one of the dashboards within this package yourself, the cost of doing so in terms of manpower, even using internal resources, would be probably more expensive than downloading one of the whole apps and running it for a year. So just something to think about in terms of return on investment and cost. Okay, as mentioned, we use Power BI, and you do need Power BI Pro to support this. Hopefully most people have that. If not, it's quite a cheap thing to go with. I think it's like $9.99 a month per user for Power BI Pro at the moment. Okay. The other thing that is obviously good when you sign up to a product such as this, as Business Central changes, you'll be aware that you've got mandatory updates to Business Central itself that you have to accept. Some of the data schema and structure will change, in which case the product from eKnowtion will change with them. So you can re-download and redeploy updates to the system as and when they are put together. And you will also find that the eKnowtion team within the Business Central Insights product, they will keep evolving everything that's within the product. So the number of reports will evolve, the changes within those reports. So quite recently we've had the ability to change aging buckets has appeared. which is great. So you can go off and change your aging structures as you see fit. The security has changed, which we'll touch on a little bit as well, to make things a little bit more granular and to give you some more flexibility in how you use the system. But the reality is that as well as buying something that out of the box works really well, it goes through perpetual changes, and eKnowtion are very, very responsive to customers' requirements. So if there are things that multiple people are asking for, then they will be added into the product, and you'll get an even more useful system based on your business. Okay, so I'll skip on. So all you need to install is the appropriate rights. You don't need any specific skills. There are very, very good instructions, which I'll show you a little bit in a moment, in how to run through all of this. So you've no need to have, as I say, specific skills in-house or external resource to make things work, which makes life very easy. Everything is covered on the eKnowtion website support pages, and that is how to implement, upgrade, set up the security, troubleshooting, any issues, and so on and so forth. Plus, obviously, ourselves and eKnowtion will support you if there are issues or if you need anything throughout the process, just to make sure you have the best experience you can. eKnowtion will also send out regular emails to the customer base to advise of enhancements and changes, which is really nice. You get a kind of a perpetual data feed to see what's going on. And as I mentioned, there's continual revision based on the customer requests and business needs that you may have. So just to show you quickly while we're here, if I go into here, so here's the Business Central Insights website. It's a dedicated site within the eKnowtion website itself, and you'll see in here you've got demo requests you can go through if you want to get a bit more detail after this call. There are videos on YouTube. You've got all kinds of information in the help in terms of how to install, and it will literally go through in extreme details on both video and step by step. Really, really good. Really helps you to go through things. Very, very simple structure on this. And all of our customers that have currently got the system have found this, really helpful. Even for ourselves, we can refer back to this if we forget anything. It's very, very easy to run through. Okay. The other thing mentioned, which I'll just show you a little example of, is you've also got the emails that come out from eKnowtion to give you an idea of what's happening. So this is a Feb 22 update email that came out. Nice little email, shows you what's changes, updated cash flow, CRM and jobs reports, asking again for feedback on themes, etc. So as I mentioned, customer feedback is very important. It's very much taken into account. And again, you'll get some screenshots of things that are changed, any details on there, details on the connector, and various other things. And as it mentions here, free online sessions to answer questions. So if you get stuck, if you want more information, you can go in, click on the online sessions, choose yourself a time slot, schedule that, and get on with one of the eKnowtion team to run through. So really all about looking after the customer. Okay, so we'll just go back into the slide deck. Okay, so if we go into the next slide, as I mentioned, you've got 11 different apps at the moment covering finance, purchase, CRM, inventory, jobs, and so on and so forth. Within each of those apps, you've got a number of dashboards, as you can see on the screen there. You have visual tools to give you some nice visual representations of certain things within the data, and you have the ability to use Q&A, so natural language query, to be able to ask questions of the data, which is really good. There's a lot of tooltips that help you with that. But again, it's all designed to give you a very rich experience in terms of the data you can get out of Business Central without having to do anything particularly difficult to do so. Okay, and you'll hopefully see as we go through again how that looks. So a few screenshots to give you some ideas. Each of these represents one of the apps. There's a few of these screenshots, so I do apologise. No one likes the slide, but it just gives you a bit of a flavour. So here, you'll get a similar look and feel across each of the apps. So you're going to see all of your reports listed and split. So as you can see at the bottom, there's Business Central Finance Insights there. You've got some general reports, balance sheet reports, income/P&L, profitability, financial ratios, and then your visual tools, which includes the Q&A section. You have a whole bunch of filters that you can work with on the right hand side, and you've got year and company filter defaults on the left hand side that you can work with. But again, it's just to show you really the scale of the sort of information you've got in. If I go on to sales and purchasing, again, multiple reports, all of that similar look and feel we've just seen. The same thing works with CRM, inventory and jobs. And service and manufacturing, So, there's a lot of information in there. You can download, and once you've got the connector, that connects you to all of the data, and you can download one or more of the apps, or if you wanted all of the apps, there is bundle-based pricing, again, to make things a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier for you. You only have to have what you want and what you need for the business. And as mentioned, something like shown on here, the manufacturing insights, this is very new. This is about to go into GA. We've already had a couple of customers who have looked at this and raised their hand and said, we would like to see X, Y, Z, and eKnowtion are happily looking at that in the background for us, and that will be things that will get released as time goes by. So, really responsive to customer needs. Okay. Couple of ideas of the sort of dashboards you will see within these screens. So there's dashboard example 1, your income statement overview. It's a profit and loss statement, not the most exciting thing to put together, but as you can see on here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different individual reports that sit in there. Everything is interlinked, so all of the filters apply to all of the reports, both from the left-hand drop downs and from the right-hand filter selections. Everything is kind of designed to make it easy for you to work out what you're looking at. We can run quick sessions with people as well once they've downloaded to show you really what is within the system and help you navigate around, because there is a plethora of information for you to be able to get at. But most of it is hopefully relatively simple to understand and navigate. But like anything, it's always nice having a holding hand when you start off with something new. Okay. Another dashboard example, just a different type of visual, and obviously this is all using the power of Microsoft Power BI. So if you're familiar with Power BI, you'll understand a lot of these graphics. If you don't, again, we can run through with you. But the whole crux again with eKnowtion is they're making use of the tools that are out there to really maximize the benefit you will get from your data coming into this system. Another example there, just zeroed in, you've got your map on there. Once I've zeroed in on that 2-seater bikes line, it's then focused in on Melbourne because that's where the sales are. Purchases are, sorry. So it gives you a visual representation. It's good stuff. It looks great, not just for yourself if you're someone that's doing analysis, but if you've got like a C-level that want better data, you can expose this to them. They've got everything at their fingertips, and everyone at a high level likes a picture. They like the graphical representation, and it's a really slick, usable package that can be shared out across the business. Okay. Now, Q&A example, as mentioned, everything's got this Q&A set up. So you can sit and type into the box at the top. So as you can see there, number of item customers, item sales, and so on and so forth. And it's going to come up and show you the most appropriate graphic for what you've asked for. So you can say, show me sales by month by customer, for example, and it will come back and give you a really good graphic that shows you that information if you didn't want to go off and look for it or find, the specific report that's already been built for that data. Okay, so at this stage, I'm going to go into the system. So let me just get into the right screen. I'm just going to go into Power BI now, make sure I'm logged in. So give me a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to sign in, make sure I use the right account when I get in there. Hopefully it's already in. Sorry about the delay. Okay, so I'm in Power BI now. I'm going to go into apps. And within my apps, you're going to see here's my list of the various apps that I've downloaded. The all's part of the eKnowtion apps. Equally, if I click on Get Apps in here, it's going to come up and show me a whole bunch of things. So, already I've got finance and accounts payable and whatnot, or I could type eKnowtion in here and it'll go and find me the specific things. So if I wanted to download, I could just click on it and download and it'll install into my system. For now, I'll just use something that's in there. Again, just to give a bit of an idea, I'll click on Sales Insights. In we go into Sales Insights, and everything is pretty fast. You don't have to hang around for ages because the data, as I say, is exported on schedule, and you've got information on how to set the schedules up to 8 times a day. So once it's exported during those processes, it's there to use, and it's just the reports manifesting themselves when you click on the individual buttons. So as mentioned on the slides, you've first of all got the ability to select your fiscal year, so you can see what you want, current, previous, the specific year, etc. You can select a company from your list of companies, assuming you've got multiple companies configured in your Business Central. You've still got the navigation on the left-hand side, which you can hide if you so desire. And then you've got all of your dashboards that you can launch. And on the right-hand side is a list of filters you can apply. So dates, years, and so on and so forth. One of the most important things on here, I think everyone in the Business Central world will appreciate, is that all of your global and shortcut dimensions will also appear for you to filter. So all reports can be filtered by those dimensions, which is probably invaluable, seeing as they are your specific company-defined data marks that you wish to work with. Okay, but for the sake of today, again, I'm just going to click into a couple of these things to give you a bit of an idea. So if I just take, let's say, I know, sales by customer, let's launch this dashboard. My sales by customer is going to come up. It's giving me kind of a heat map of the world to show me where my sales are. So, obviously over here, I can see that Australia is fantastic for sales for us based on this being built in Australia. I've got some European sales and I've got some North America sales. It's got all my customers. It's then giving me a trending line of my sales and profit across the time period that we've got. I can go and click on something like bike store there, and it will focus on, and again, it shows me that's Australia. It then filters all this data based on the bike store that's been selected. Okay, really good. Click on that, goes back again. You can play with this data. It's going to give you all your graphical indicators. These are up versus last year and so on and so forth. When were these guys last invoiced? So you can do some tracking. So there's a lot of data, even in this kind of single report. Okay. So if we go into another report just for the sake of it, so let's go sales deep dive. This will give us the chart that we saw earlier. So again, you can click on things, look a little bit more at the data, follow through. You're going to get tooltips when you mouse over things to give a little bit more information about what you're seeing. Okay, you can reset, as with anything Power BI, you can reset it back to where it started. If you start clicking around and playing about, you can change your measures on here. So at the moment, it's a number of invoices. I can go and look at sales in local currency, for example. It would change things around. Again, you can see it's been split out here. I've got my year, my month, my customer ledger, my sell to customer name, everything split in credits and invoices and so on and so forth. So a lot of information, a lot of data. If I come out, if I go back to my apps list, okay, and go into another one. Let's go into accounts receivable, for example. So into my AR insights. Again, as mentioned, you've got the same filters applied everywhere. Here's my year, here's my company, here's all of my different lists. I can go into here and look at my receivables overview, for example. Okay, and then it can show me what my receivables are. It shows me again the split across the globe. It gives me my tooltips as I move over things. It gives me more information about what I'm seeing. If I go into a slightly more simplistic report, so let's go back into something sales again, just to give you a nice little view of things. So if I go into sales, and I'll just go into the sales overview, let's see what we get. And then, okay, so sales overview. Okay, so you can also go on here. If I right click, I can use the drill through operation and go and see various other bits of information pertinent to the thing that I've right clicked on. So if I want to see customer ledger entries, I can click on that. It's going to come up, take me to another report, give me all the information that I need from there. If I want to, I can go into here, I can view the data set. I could export this data using the export function. I can add it into Teams because all of the functionality that exists within Power BI is still available for you to use within this. So again, it simplifies, everything's there, it's collaborative, it's about sharing, and simplicity. Okay, I won't go too much more into the individual reports now because, as I mentioned, there's a lot there. But if I just go back one, just show you one more thing. So let's just go back when that refreshes. So if I click the button properly, okay. So again, if I just I'll go into sales again, just click through, and obviously navigation. Within this, you can click around as you see fit. I'm just going back to the start to refresh where I want to be. So if I go from here into QA to show one of the last things, if I go into the Q&A, okay, up we come. It's going to prepare my Q&A. And this is where you can use your natural language query to type in questions that you would like to have answered. So it does simplify life. It gives you some suggestions, and you can ask for a load more suggestions. But if I would say, okay, sales by customer by month, okay, click on that. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, and here's my sales by customer by month and by item. Okay, it's going to give me that, or it might not do based on the amount of things I've got there. I think I've gone outside of the realms of what you can find within that screen. But again, it's just to give you a bit of an idea. Sales by customer by month. If I go back, there we go. So I've still got my data. I can scroll through and see what we've got, and it's just broken down into things. So if I said FY 2021, Okay, again, it splits it down. It just brings me back for that individual year. So, once you know what you're looking for and what you're asking for, it's very simple to find it either by asking the question or navigating to the prerequisite dashboard that exists within the setup that you've got. Okay, again, it's just to give you a little bit of a flavor, to explain that there's a lot in this system. One of the things that I did mention that is very much worth knowing about, something that's been recently implemented. With regards to security, one report can serve many purposes. Okay, so if you imagine something like salesman report, you may want to just deploy to an individual salesman. eKnowtion has implemented row level based security. So if I just go back into the eKnowtion website, here's my row level based security. It's a powerful function within Power BI that allows you to assign users basically permissions within connector and roles within Power BI service. So it explains in detail how you do that, how to set them up within the connector, how to then push that through, and it allows you to use one report. Let's say you've got a sales report and you need it restricted, so only certain people can see certain data and others can see all data. You can create different roles that filter that information. So you only have the one report, and depending on who you are when you log on, it shows you what you should see and not everything. Or in the case you've got no restrictions, it will show you everything. So it just allows you to structure things without messing around, without having multiple versions of reports and so on and so forth. And it's a fairly simple thing. And as I say, everything is documented in detail within the Business Central Insights website. Very simple to get at, very simple to run through, and incredibly detailed and assistive. And again, any issues with this, you can speak to our sales, you can speak to eKnowtion, and everyone's happy to help and get you up and running. Okay, I'll just go back to the PowerPoints and then we'll close shortly. So the only thing to really know from this as well is you can, if you are still nervous and would like to see a bit more, you can have a free 30-day trial. Simply go onto AppSource, download the eKnowtion Connector app. It will ask you if you'd like to do a 30-day trial, in which case you can. You'll be provided with a 30-day license. You can download, install, configure, put the apps on top, play around as much as you like, see what you think of things, and assuming everything turns out as we'd expect, at the end of the 30-day trial, you can sign up to one or more of the apps and continue on a paid basis at a very, very low cost for the amount of functionality that you would receive. But effectively, there's a no risk, no obligation side to this. From what you've seen today, hopefully that gives you a bit of a flavour of the depth and breadth of the offering. We've already obviously posted up some of the pricing online. You can find that as well when you go through AppSource. As to the sort of cost of these things, but it's a very, very cheap way of getting incredibly good insights out of your Business Central data that would otherwise be either a hugely lengthy internal project or a very, very costly external engagement with a consulting business. Here, it's all done, it's done for you, it's maintained, it's upgraded, and as I say, 30-day trial, no obligation, free of charge. Hopefully that will make sense. Thanks everyone for joining today. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon. As I say, any questions, please feel free to email anything over to us or the eKnowtion guys, or check it out through the PrecisionPoint or eKnowtion websites. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.